Is everyone boosted or is everyone inflated? Is it the game? Is it the players? Or is it like this by design?
Marvel Rivals Ranked has a bad inflation issue due to how the system works.
Garbage players are up here. Everyone that shouldn't be up here.
We need a rank reset now, bro. Today.
Are people's ranks inflated in Marvel Rivals? Kinda. Let me explain. A lot of players are throwing shade at the rank system, which feels like deja vu with literally every single new shooter that comes out. I wonder why. But is their criticism valid for this rank system? Short answer? Yes. But it's getting blown way out of proportion. This whole controversy truly started from this image. And what if I told you this image is fake and inaccurate? Oh wow, misinformation in the gaming scene. Who would have seen that coming? The main reason it is fake is that the player-based numbers are inconsistent. The big issue with fan-made rank charts or any data-driven images is that consistency is required first, and that wasn't there. If you look at March 14th, the PC player base shows 3.8 million, but then on March 17th, it drops to 480,000. But the real kicker is that when they removed 87% of the data from the original 3.8 million example, the 480,000 sample size had the Eternity rank more than double, from 1.7k to 3.6k, which is impossible from a data perspective. I laugh because I genuinely don't know how people didn't call this out at the time, aside from the only streamer/YouTuber I could find, which was Flats, so credit to him. It takes 2 seconds to realize this might not be completely accurate. I think the main reason no one bothered to fact check it is that it confirmed a belief they already held. Everyone was saying players were boosted and the rank system was trash, so when that image surfaced, it just reinforced what they already wanted to believe. This is a pretty common example of confirmation bias. Now, with all that in mind, here's the actual Marvel Rivals rank distribution posted by the developers. As someone who's played competitive games for a while, I can say this rank distribution is not perfect, but it's not a bad distribution either. My interpretation of high-ranked players might be different because I've viewed Celestial and higher as the top ranks. By the way, if you're below this, don't let my opinion dictate what you view as good or what someone can be happy with. I'm just a random guy who's yapping. The reason I say this chart isn't the worst is that I'll be showing some other popular game titles and their rank distributions. And what you'll notice is that Marvel Rivals generally follows the typical pattern. The largest chunk of players sit in the middle ranks, then the distribution naturally declines toward the higher end of the chart. The only notable difference is that the early ranks might be a little bit too inflated, likely a byproduct of the grind-based system. On the flip side, the later ranks, especially Diamond and GM, could be slightly overrepresented, which is a fair criticism. It's also worth noting that some of these other games may have more ranks or higher point thresholds to climb compared to Marvel Rivals. However, having only a little over 3% of players in Celestial or higher is a good sign and shows that at the higher ranks, there is certainly skill expressioning happening in the later stages of the ranks. The problem lies more with the ranks before Celestial. Also, the people who believe the fan-made charts were accurate and claim there are more GM players than Plat players are clearly wrong based on the developer's rank chart. Now, I have to preface this by saying, considering I don't know what to believe anymore with all the lies and misinformation being spread, if this chart is also wrong, you can just lock me up for being a liar. The main reason we are seeing skill expression happening at the highest ranks and not in the ranks before that is because of how MMR is determined. You gain more than you lose. Essentially, as the season progresses and comes to its end and people settle into their ranks, the system isn't actually that bad for high-ranked players, because you can't just climb for the highest rank like Eternity or Celestial by simply playing games. This is supported by the developer's chart. However, because of how MMR is determined before this, it's rough to say the least. Could a placement system fix this to an extent? Probably. I also know they just recently announced they will make individual performance affect MMR even more, but I think there is something else going on that people haven't been noticing or at least mentioning. The rank system is supposed to be bad up until Celestial/Eternity. We can see this is generally supported by the rank chart, which shows that generally speaking, the ranks before Celestial are consistent in percentage to an extent. But then we see a huge dip in percentages. So their idea was to make people climb to a rank that seems cool to get engagement. However, once you get to Celestial, this system gets thrown out the window, and competitive play finally begins. This is the inherent issue. It's not consistent with the entire game. The competitive experience people have isn't consistent throughout. Lobbies are generally unbalanced up until Celestial based on how MMR is determined. This is why people above Celestial generally don't know what's going on and why this was a big issue before good players entered Celestial. Once players were able to separate themselves from the broken system before Celestial, it didn't become a problem for them anymore. If you look at videos of people complaining about it, they keep mentioning the rank GM. This is important because GM in a lot of games like Overwatch was considered the highest rank for a long time, but Marvel Rivals intentionally made ranks above it, like Celestial and Eternity from the start. It's to get engagement. They want people to reach a rank that was deemed awesome and cool back in the day, but they also wanted some sort of system for high-ranked players. The problem is that this can't really work to make a competitive game healthy for everyone. It's funny because the people who are complaining the most about the rank system are those in Celestial and Eternity, despite it probably being the least problematic for them. To be fair, there are still some people complaining about it in high ranks, but I think this is more fueled by frustration and emotions, because generally speaking, their math of how the system works doesn't hold up after dissecting it. Here's a clip of what I'm talking about.
Because I've been seeing a concerning amount of like 45% to 40% win rates in like high Celestial, borderline Eternal. I'm not joking. If they look at your win rate and they see that you have a 40% win rate and you're Celestial too, I feel like you should be losing 30 that game. I'm gonna be honest.
I hate to even have to say this, but please do not send hate toward any content creator I critique or show in my videos. Now, the problem with this TikTok creator's numbers is that they just don't make sense mathematically. I probably have autism when it comes to numbers, but I immediately called dog poo-poo when he claimed that people could climb in Celestial with a 40 to 45% win rate. This literally can't happen, even with extremely favorable equations. Let me explain. In Celestial and Eternity, the most common number gained or lost per match is around 20 on average. I'm going to show proof of this from this TikTok creator's other video, where he clearly shows his net gains and losses. But for his sake, I'll even be generous and give him a plus 23 gain and a minus 17 loss, assuming this player was just built different and popped off every game. I'll use both 40% and 43% win rates since they fall right in the middle of the claimed 40 to 45% range. The formula is simple. Take your win rate, subtract it from 100, then multiply the win rate by the average rank points gained and loss rate by the average rank points lost. If the loss side comes out higher, you're not climbing. At a 43% win rate, it would take... All you need to know is that it's mathematically impossible to reach Eternity with a 40% win rate. You'd need to play 500 games just to gain 100 ranked points and 1500 games to go from Celestial to Eternity with a 43% win rate, even with extremely favorable odds factored into the equation. Keep in mind that players in One Above All who play this game for a living haven't even played 1500 games this season yet. This is the equation I used in case you're interested. I think it's pretty obvious that at least 50 to 75% of the rank system is broken due to intentional design. However, I don't think it's going to be too hard to fix, because there's definitely a reason they've designed it this way. To encourage engagement and get people to play a lot of ranked in a game that just came out. That's how grind-based ranked modes work, baby. That said, I also believe the most vocal critics are frustrated by the lack of skill expression, which ties back to my last video. But since this game is inherently about fun, wouldn't it make more sense to have a more casual, goofy ranked mode? The real issue here is misinformation. Can it really be valid to criticize something for being broken when it's broken by design? Misinformation or ignorance about a certain subject is my biggest fear. The way people quickly jumped on a fan-based rank chart and reinforced their own belief reminds me of what happened with Overwatch. A game that initially wasn't designed to be purely competitive and didn't even launch with a competitive mode, but eventually went in that direction because of the players. No one likes to bring up that point. I wonder why. With a series of blundered patches and hero balance issues, it ended up losing its entire audience. For a little bit at least. It's almost as if we're seeing history repeat itself. End of story, your rank doesn't mean anything. Don't let an icon or someone else's opinion define you as a player or as an individual. At the end of the day, games should be about fun and improvement. Sorry for the yap session, but holy moly, thanks for the support on the last video. I'm really enjoying Marvel Rivals right now, so hopefully I can make more videos for you guys, but I'm kind of cashing out my Eternity rank for this season, so it's tough to keep playing the game since I really only enjoy ranked. The end of season slump is rough, I'm not gonna lie, so hopefully season 2 is insane.